We're going to talk about this. This is the Bigme HiBreak, which is an e-ink smartphone. Isn't it incredible? It has fulfilled the aim of what I wanted it to do. It really has. It is actually meaning that all I'm doing on my smartphone at the moment is that I am using Kindle as a reader. I'm really enjoying that. And I am doing my communication on it. So I'm making phone calls, as you'd expect from a phone. And I am being able to look at and manage my emails as I go. And I am using my voice recorder, which is Otter. This is the app that I use. I use Otter here. And for example, I recorded a little voice note, and I was just discussing on my previous live stream the AI paper, the AI paper, and I was just discussing how using it like a second brain is really, really useful. And this is what I do when I've got a thought. Often, yes, I do write with pens and paper sometimes. I do write with the e-ink tablets, but often I just sort of talk to the app on my phone. What you're looking at just there on the screen is some thoughts I had about using the Bigme HiBreak. And what I wanted it to do was to be a minimalist smartphone. And I think right now, honestly, this is the best minimalist smartphone that you can actually buy. If you want a minimal phone right this second now, then I think this is the thing for you. If you've decided you want to sort of break free a little bit from your connection to your larger smartphone, I use the Z Fold 3, this I've used for some time, then I would strongly suggest having a look at this. But it's not perfect, don't get me wrong, it is not absolutely perfect. Using an e-ink phone is not actually 100% ideal. It's a bit like going back a few years, maybe 5, and going back to a phone that maybe didn't have a fingerprint reader, so you had to put in your passcode every single time, that didn't have NFC, so you couldn't pay for things on it, that, you know, sometimes was a little bit too slow to do the kind of productivity tasks that you're maybe now used to doing on a phone. Oh, and also slower charging speeds, you know, things like that. And you don't have wireless charging as well. You know, it isn't a powerful smartphone, but it is a great price point as well. But you're going back to something, maybe a simpler time. You're going back to a time when smartphones weren't as great at multitasking as they are today. And perhaps you might not want to make that trade-off. Perhaps you might want to wait for the later Bigme HiBreak that is coming as well, because there is one on its way. So we'll see about that. But right now, what it's doing is being the minimalist phone that I was currently after. Now, personally, I am using both of these phones. I'm still using this, but I have my main SIM card in this, and this lives in my pocket, which is great because this is a big thing to be in your pocket for 3 years, which is what I've had. This is now, it's the classic phone design. Marquez calls them the candy bar phone. I don't know why it's coming back every time on my photograph there of some weird Thomas thing we saw at the museum, which I think I can remember this from my childhood. We saw it at the museum the other day. If that doesn't make you feel old, then what will? But if wanting to go back to a simpler time with simpler phones doesn't make you feel old as well, then that's that. So it does have a camera. It does have a camera on the back there. It does have a front-facing camera as well. It doesn't have any media speakers on the bottom. It only has the top firing speaker there, which can play sound if you want, but you'll notice there's no YouTube installed on there. Well, the closest thing, I guess, to social media I have is WhatsApp. There's no Facebook on there. There's no Instagram. It's not going to be for scrolling. It's going to be for growing. And I've just been reading this on here. This is my light reading. I'm getting really into this now. And also other Kindles that I've been reading. I've been reading the Decameron on here as well, which is by my bit more intense. I've really been enjoying this as well. Anyone read the Decameron out there? Great time reading on here. Why did this work for me currently? And I'm thinking this is going to work for me for some time, by the way. But it works for me because I already had 2 SIM cards. I had a second SIM card for testing out things with 4G or with connectivity or phones that people have sent to me. So I bought a second SIM card to be able to test those. And I can then put my second SIM card into this larger phone. And this larger phone can live, it'll live in my car pretty much, be connected to Android Auto. If I go out of the car, I can decide, right, do I need to take this? Not really, and then I've got the reader in my pocket as my phone rather than the big smartphone. Or I can decide, no, do you know what? I do need to take this powerhouse. I do need to take this 12 gigabyte of RAM, Snapdragon monster out and about with me. And I do want to get something done. Or I can decide that I do want to watch some YouTube. Great for that. But when I just want to say, no, do you know what? I want to be present, but I also need to be able to be contacted. I need to be able to pick up emails and deal with things on the go. Then I've got my e-ink smartphone there as well. And do you know what? I'm really, really happy with it. It is really doing what I wanted it to do.